Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and thanks for being here all these years while I geek and tweak over snowboard gear. And today we're talking about the Cardiff Goat. This is the Enduro model. They do make a Pro Carbon model in a 62. And surprisingly, it's more damp and more aggressive. I rode this with Union Atlas, Union Force, Ride Deadbolt, and Battalion Acid Boa boots. I got this in a wide variety of late spring conditions. That's the only time Cardiff was able to get me these boards. But I've gotten on this board a lot in the past in the older Enduro model, and not much has changed in terms of camber and shape. What I mainly wanted to understand is what the new construction's doing versus the old construction. Overall though, I got some good conditions. For late spring, I got a little bit of powder and really got to test this more than I thought I could. When it comes to sizing, this 56 fit me really well. In the past, I rode the 58 and 54 in regular Enduro construction, but the same width, same side cut, almost the same exact shape. I felt the 54 was too small, the 58 was too big. This 56 is just right. It's a nice balance between working for my size 9 boots while not being too small for my weight of 185 to 195 pounds. Now, some things that might make you want to swipe right on the Snowboard dating app. Despite being so directional, it has a very centered directional twin feel. It's got great grip. It's got a very fast base. It rides switch really well for having a good amount of taper. It's a very good big mountain, get some air, ride more centered type of free ride board. Some things that'll make you want to swipe left. It's not as damp as it used to be versus the old Enduro Goat. It's not the kind of board you want to get if you set your stance back a lot in powder. Let's talk shape. This is tapered and directional. The nose is a decent amount wider than the tail. There's 11 millimeters of taper. You have a much smaller tail and a much bigger nose. You would think you would feel that taper on snow, and you don't. When looking at the specs, I thought this would be a lot different from the Crane, but it felt a lot closer to the Crane. In powder, it feels a little more directional, a little more floaty, but on groomers, it has that same centered feel. When it comes to the camber profile, this has a little bit more rocker than the Crane, but not by much. I think they call this 60% camber and the Crane 65% camber. On snow, it feels very similar. If you're an intermediate to an advanced or expert rider, this is going to be a great fit. It's not super catchy. It's easy to skid turns, but it tracks really well one footing off a chair or going down a long flat cat track. And it has a very consistent personality in all conditions. I never felt like the feel underfoot changed from soft snow to hard snow or anything like that. And that consistency I really enjoy in a board. When it comes to edge hold, the Goat does a great job at gripping. There's a very subtle disruption in the side cut, and it doesn't seem like much if you're just looking at it here in studio under the pretty light. But where they make this disruption maximizes the grip, and it's better than a lot of boards with a lot more exaggerated disruption in the side cut. Not only does it grip really well in hard snow, but it doesn't grab in soft snow at all. It feels like just a traditional side cut, and that's a complaint that a lot of people have with disrupted side cuts, is they can feel a little grabby in soft snow, and a lot of people don't like that. This gives you the best of both worlds. I still don't think it's a full-on icy snow specialist like some boards with really aggressive disruption, but it can hang there no problem. Let's talk Goat Flex. This is a 56, just like the Crane that I reviewed this year. And you can see it's a stiffer flex than the Crane, but not by too much. In the tail, there's a little give, but it's pretty stiff here. The nose is a little softer. It feels more like the Cranes. And there's a little give right here that goes into there. It's easier to nose butter than it is to tail butter, obviously, but it's pretty easy to access this pop, and it pops pretty well. Overall, it's a little more dynamic than you would think by looking at the semi-mellow camber profile. When it comes to uneven snow, I did like the old Goat Enduro better in soft uneven snow. I thought that was a little more damp. It was a little better in hard, uneven, micro bumpy snow too, but this is still pretty good. They definitely traded up a little extra pop for a little less dampness. And I think it was just at the right place to where it's not too problematic and it's not a deal breaker, but it doesn't have that powerful dampness anymore like it used to. I think most people will be okay with that though. It's still a good all-day ride. When it comes to speed and pointing it, this has a very straight line friendly side cut. It's like a 9.5 meter side cut radius. That allows you to go straight and go fast within reason. If you really want to point it, you really want to bomb, and the 162 is a better fit for you, go Pro Carbon. It's just an all-around gnarlier ride. But as it stands, this can straight line very well, especially so if you need a nice, good tracking straight line into getting some big air in the backcountry, dropping a big cliff or something like that. Shit I don't do, but shit you might do. You'll like this. The base glide is special. It's way upper tier. I love how they tune this. It's excellent in powder and good snow. Not going to be the best if you see wet, slushy snow at the end of the season, but you live to ride these boards when it's good. I love an all black base. They're super easy to repair. So when it comes to turning, this can initiate a turn pretty quickly. And if you need to skid a turn in some steep terrain to stop and rethink your line, I was surprised at how easy it pivots for having such a straight line friendly side cut that usually doesn't like to turn at all. So they got some cool magic going on here with the side cut. Then when I get this on edge and I really want to engage the side cut on a turn, I was surprised that it wasn't just a down the line, more straight line friendly turn. This can across the groomer carve okay. If you're more into that, definitely get the crane or something else. But if you like to go straight and fast, but still want the ability to have some across the groomer carves or even the occasional circle carve, this will do a pretty good job. And this camber has pretty good spring out of the turn. You wouldn't think so for such a mellow camber, but it did well. And when it comes to powder float, I thought this was pretty good, but it's a very centered ride. And with a 22-inch stance width set all the way back on the inserts, as you can see here, you can only get 2.875 inches back from center of board versus the setback on side cut. That's better than the crane at 2.375 at a 22-inch stance width, but it's far from competing with a lot of free ride boards out there. They're usually 3.5 or more back from center of board. So this is a board meant more for big mountain riding. It's not the best low angle powder board. You do have 11 mil of taper, you have a smaller tail with a lot less surface area and a much bigger nose. So the tail does sink and the nose does help you float. And it does very good for being this centered on board, but it's more for people who like to get air and ride steeper terrain. They want some landing gear in the back and they prefer a more centered ride. If you're somebody who lives to set it back and get easy directional float, this isn't for you. You actually can ride the Goat switch really well. It's not like the crane that's better, but this is way better than you would think for having this much taper and looking this directional. It's a great board for getting air in the backcountry, and it could do okay on a kicker if you want to hit that on occasion. I wouldn't jib with this, and it's not an ideal pipe board for somebody like me who likes a little deeper side cut radius to be able to get up and down, but this does okay. And overall, I was pretty impressed with the GOAT. I think it's definitely more for big mountain, steep terrain riders. It doesn't have that crossover like some big mountain boards do. It's more specialized for that specific purpose. For me personally, I could have a brilliant life with the crane and the Pagoda. That would be an excellent two-board quiver. But if you only need one board for big mountain riding, this could be a great call.
Davey boy here, bringing you the Cardiff GOAT. I rode this with my Burton Ion boots and Union Force bindings. I got this out in a variety of conditions. Some good powder, about 1.5 to 2 feet. Some firm, icy early morning groomers. Some softer, springtime-esque, still firm in the morning, off-piste terrain off the backside of Summit. And some early morning, still firm, iced up, kind of sun-cuppy, chicken-heady, icy conditions off the backside of Summit, Mount Bachelor. So I could test out the dampness on this board and figure out how chattery it would get in real chattery conditions. This GOAT has changed from years prior. It has a new construction. It's a little lighter, a little more poppy, a little less damp, and this is a hard charging tapered directional ride with a twinish feel. So to talk about sizing, this board is a 162. I am 6'4", 235 pounds. I rode a size 12 boot on this board, and the width was perfect for my boot. It engaged edge to edge very quickly, and once it was on edge, it was easy to keep it on edge. I had full maneuverability with it. It didn't feel slow or clunky. And I also thought the length in the 162 was a good size for how stiff of a flex and kind of down the line hard charging this board is. I think if I was going strictly for off-piste riding, big backcountry lines, then I would be down to take this in a 166. But taking this thing all around the mountain, carving, trying to jump off stuff, go through the trees, and keep my speed in check, going around the kids in ski school and all the families and other things like that, I think the 162 was a perfect size. And if you're smaller than me, but your boot still fits it, I would consider a downsizing, because I think most of these run in a mid-wide size already. So if you're pushing the 200-ish pound weight spectrum, but your boot size is good enough for the 162, I might think about trying the 158 or the next size down, just because this board is pretty aggressive. So overall, I like this board. This thing is aggressive down the line. It's definitely a specific riding style. If you are looking for a more centered feel, a more twinish feel on a board that is tapered and directional, this is a good option. If you're looking for something that's gonna go fast, haul ass, hit big cliffs, and just wanna charge down the line, this is a really good option. If you want something that's kind of more playful and powder surfy, I don't think this is gonna be the best board for you. I liked this thing. I thought it was fun, but it's definitely like a mood that you gotta have to ride this thing. Like, you gotta be listening to some death metal if you really wanna ride this thing right. Like, kind of reminded me of the Black Snowboard of Death, but even more tapered, more directional, more deathy. And that's a good thing if you like to ride hard. If you don't, I think the Pagoda may be a little bit more of your type of choice on the Cardiff line. But overall, I really like this board. I thought it was a hard charger, and like I said, it's a specific riding style. If you want to go fast and you want to charge hard, great option.